Hello Data Ninja, do you know that there is an amazing Power BI update this January? Power BI just launched a new view in Power BI Desktop called TMDL, TMDL, which basically stands for Tabular Model Definition Language. This TMDL is a descriptive language that is used to define the structure, relationship, and metadata of your Power BI dataset. With this new update, you can create a new measure easily. In fact, you can create a group measure easily. You can transfer your work from one Power BI desktop to another Power BI desktop. You can actually perform a group replace, like replacing something in your entire model with something else. Isn't that amazing? You can also preset your pooling expression now without need of connecting to a tabular editor before you can actually create a pooling expression. You can now also use some tabular editor properties that we don't have access to previously in Power BI desktop right there from your TMDL. Some properties like is available MDS, pooling expression, incremental refresh, and so on. And since this script language is actually available for us to modify, you can use the help of ChatGPT or Copilot to actually create a description across all your code, which include descriptions like measure descriptions, table description, even column descriptions. Now let's jump straight right into it. If you look at my screen here and you open Power BI, you will see that Power BI now has a new update called TMDL, which is TMDL. If you don't have this TMDL update right now, what you need to do is to go to your options and setting in Power BI. On your options, you go to preview features. From your preview features, you switch on, you make sure that you tick from your previous features, you make sure that you tick TMDL view, then you close and restart your system. Now, once you have access to this TMDL view, there are so many things you can do here. You can see this actually look like a typical coding and programming interface where you can actually write a code. You can see problems here. You can see output here. And then you can see like something related to a sheet here, like a script. So this is typically like a script one. And how do I get started? Or how do I start writing a script, right? To my side here, you see that I have access to data, which is my tables and my model, which I can actually quickly kind of start looking at right now and start seeing what is really going on in this model. For example, I want to see this table called D calendar. If I carry this table into my script one, you see that it has carried the definitive script of this language to this script one, which means I can actually kind of amend anything I want to amend in this table right now, right from my scripting page. From here, I can see the name of the table is called D calendar, which is called table here. This table has a column called date, and then these are the properties of that columns. This table also has another column called year, and these are the properties of those columns. Now I'm going to go and drag my measure table. So this is the table where I have all my measures. So if I drag this table here, you see that this is all the measures that I have right here. And even if I want to add, let's say, for example, I want to add additional measures to this table, instead of me going to Power BI and start adding that, I can actually do that right from here. So if I do measures, and I'm calling my measures, let's say total ordered, right? And then I'm going to just use sum for this measure. So I can do sum, and I'm going to put that in a quote there and just do fact underscore rating and do a square bracket. I'm summing up the quantity ordered. Okay, so I've created these measures finished. Let's say, for example, I want to copy this measure down. Maybe I need this measure like 3 times. So I can do the shortcut like shift up, down, and I'll be able to create like 2 or but let me say I just duplicate this twice. I just need it twice, and you can see a problem already showing here. So there's a duplicate value here. So I want to create another measure for I've created one for quantity order, so I want to create another one for available order. So I can easily come here and just change this to available ordered. Available ordered, and right here I can come here and just change this to available order. So by doing this, I've created 2 new measures easily, and then I can click on apply changes. And once I click on apply changes, it's going to apply these measures straight back into my table. So if I go to my table, you can see 2 new measures now, which is called total line and then total ordered. Now, how do we replace multiple columns? Let's say, for example, you have columns called underscore key, and you want to rename all these underscore key to maybe underscore unique ID, or you want to change them to unique ID instead of key, right? So how do we do that? So the best thing to do is just come here, and then under your model, you will see model here, then you see your semantic model. So if you drag your semantic model into your script, so you have another script, then you can click on replace here, and then let's say you want to replace everything underscore key to let's say underscore unique ID. right? Underscore unique ID. So that is what I want to change everything to. So if I click on replace all here, so it's basically going to replace everything. You can see it here, unique ID, and then any other thing that has a key, it will change it to unique ID as well. And if there's any problem, to show the problem here, right? So right now I can actually apply this to my model. So if I click on apply, so by clicking on apply, it has applied this to my model. So if I go back to my table and I type key, you notice I don't have anything key anymore. So I now have a unique ID, right? You see everything is now changed to unique ID. Instead of me right clicking, changing this column one by one, or going to Power Query to be changing all these columns, I can actually do everything right here. And it's actually changed about 20 or 20 something columns in just a few seconds, right? Now let's look at another interesting thing. What if I want to actually look at the property of a table? So if I go to a particular table right now, let's say for example, my fact table here, which is called rating table. So if I drag this fact rating table here, I will see that this table actually has some properties like pooling type is basic, rolling window is this, rolling window period is this, incremental is, it also has some incremental expression as well. Now, another interesting thing that you should see is Boolean expression is now here. Most of the time, we usually use Tabular Editor to change our Boolean expression. Let's say we have a Boolean expression somewhere. So what we do most of the time is we publish our Power BI desktop to the service, and then we use Tabular Editor to kind of change the Boolean expression on this. But because of this update, you can actually change the Boolean expression right there from your Power BI desktop. So I have another Boolean expression, a customized Boolean expression I've wrote somewhere. So I'm just going to copy and just replace this with a Boolean expression. You can see I have my own customized Boolean expression now, which is just basically counting the rows of this table rather than using the default Boolean expressions that we have. If I apply this right now, it's going to apply this Boolean expression to my table, and you can see that this change is successful. So you can see success, right? So right here, my Boolean expression is now here. What about some other properties that we have in Tabular Editor? Other properties like is available MDS. You know, most of us, for performance reason, we usually want to set is available MDS for some columns that we don't necessarily need to use in Excel for Excel analysis to force. If you have a column that take a lot of spaces in your model and you don't want the users to actually use this column in Excel, or it's not even needed in Excel, so that your report and your semantic model is more optimized. So if you go to any of the columns that we have down here, let's say, for example, other number, for example. So I don't want my maybe self-service users to be able to use this in Excel. Maybe they are doing an analysis in Excel. I can set this available MDS to false. So if I come down here and I look for another property, so you see different properties that I can actually add to this. I have is available MDS, is data type preferred, is default image, is hidden, is key, is unique. But right now, what I need is available MDS, and I can say false. Right? So by setting this to false, it will increase the performance of my report. And any user that is using this semantic model to build their own report in Excel will not be able to access this column, right? And that is how fast I can actually do this. If I click apply as well, it's going to apply this as well to my semantic model. You can see another success. That is also how to change some few properties. Now, another one I want to show you is, for example, I have different measures. I have all my measures right here. But these measures that I have, all these measures that I have, I want to create like a comment for all these measures. I want to put a comment for all these measures. I just want to put all these measures like this. I want to have a comment for each line of the measures. With the help of ChatGPT, I can actually copy this code. Since I have this code right now, I can copy it and then go to ChatGPT to actually create different commenting of each of the measures. So if I take this code to ChatGPT and I just paste this code right here and I say, write a description for all my measures. I'm just telling ChatGPT to write a descriptions for my measures in the code, right? And let's see how ChatGPT is going to react to this. So I'm telling ChatGPT to write a description for my measure in the code, and let me just say return in code panel, right? So once this is done, I'm basically going to copy this code. Then I'm going to come back here, delete this and replace with what I just copied from ChatGPT. So if I apply this right now, you will see that it has created different descriptions for each of these measures, right? So if I go back to maybe my model view right now, and I select any of the measures, you will see most of the measures now has a description. So let's say I select miss quantity, you say calculate the sum of quantity order from the fact rating table. So it has created a descriptions for all of my measures. So this way I work smartly, and I actually create descriptions with the codes. Let me know what you think about this TMDL and how you're going to be using this TMDL to make your work efficient. See you in another video. Thank you.